Today we're talking about type 2, the giver. I'm Leslie Hershberger. If you want to find more about me and my work with the Enneagram and teams, go to www.lesliehershberger.com. I'm also on Facebook as Leslie Hershberger. And I can't say it depends on how busy I am as far as how much I post. I do try to get posted, once or twice a week. And I'm also on LinkedIn. So type 2, it's all about relationships and seeing the world through the lens of relationships. And it's also about, do people like me? Because if you're all about relationships, you want to have people think positively of you and think well of you. So you're going to want people to like you. And I have a friend who tells a great story. She said that when she was talking to her teacher said, about 50% of people will like you. And she said, those aren't good odds. And that's really how it is for twos. It's very difficult for them if someone doesn't like them. So if you're coaching them, if you're managing them, if you're parenting them, I would say these are the top 5 practices I would give them. The first is discern how much you really need to do for someone. Twos tend to overdo it and they burn themselves out without realizing. Like while going above and beyond is a gift, if you're constantly going above and beyond without some sort of discernment, then you're going to be exhaustion. Poor health, exhaustion, and resentment isn't a gift. So coach them to say, how much is too much? Practice saying no once a day. And a bonus challenge would be practice saying no without a prolonged explanation. The second practice for twos is appreciate who you are beyond what you do. Focus on the word do. Twos tend to, like all heart types, tend to do relationships. It's almost like I have to shape shift in some way in order to get that connection. Sometimes your presence is enough. I can't tell you how often I've had twos simply sit and listen to me, and I can feel their empathy, and they're not doing anything. So reflect on someone you care about as a practice and encourage them to say, what do you like about them that has nothing to do with what they do, but has a lot to do with who they are. And say to the two, can you do this for yourself? Can you write down 3 positive things about yourself that highlight your gifts beyond what you do for another? And this will be a big challenge. So be patient with yourself if you're a 2, and if you're parenting a 2 or managing a 2, have a lot of compassion for this type that almost goes blank to who am I underneath what I do. The third practice. Guilt is a habit for twos. It comes from this tendency, like all heart types, to take too much responsibility for relationships. So conflicts, coaching, conflicts and challenges are natural in a relationship. If something goes wrong, it actually can be a catalyst for something new. People learn from things not going well. People grow from things not going well. It's not always your fault. So be mindful, twos, for taking too much upon yourself and wasting energy on guilt. So you can remind the 2 in your life that, are you focusing a lot? Are you taking too much of this on yourself? Are you taking too much responsibility for this conflict? There's two people involved here. How are you overcompensating? So the 2 can say to themselves, each person is autonomous and can function without my assistance. And that will hurt to say it. They can function without my assistance because this is a core part of the 2's identity. And for the 2, they can start cultivating a new neural pathway in their brain to say, I can value each person's autonomy rather than guilting myself and assuming I have to constantly be the one to make things happen in this relationship. Number 4, at work, appreciate different ways of working and develop appreciation for people who don't prioritize relationships the way you do. And if you're a parent of a 2, encourage your 2 at school on this. Some people value data. Some people like to think deeply about things. They want to think about deep meaning and insight and analysis and information like the head types do. Trying to put all of the pieces together, stepping back to observe, not always being positive and friendly and warm. All right. Others, kind of in those body types, they're more direct, can be more forthright, and they may not be as focused on being nice and friendly because they're kind of action, that gut instinct that just moves towards. That's real helpful to understand for a 2. If somebody's quiet, if somebody's reserved, if somebody's not friendly, it's not about you, and it's not about anything you did or didn't do. So for them, for number 4, each day, take time to notice what someone else brings to a team or a group, particularly if they don't go out of their way to be friendly. That's a big challenge. And use your natural gift of appreciation to respect these differences, because twos have a lot of empathy. So they can kind of harness that empathy to see when somebody else isn't super friendly and warm and they're not getting that hit of connection, that it might not be about them. So, number 4 again is appreciating different ways of working and different kinds of people. And 5, use anger and judgment as a sign of rising needs. Your relationships are going to improve in the long run if you can learn to communicate clearly what you need. And I know this is a challenge because you don't always know what you need on the front end. So notice your difficulty in prioritizing your needs and practice asking for what you want by making a simple, direct request of others each day. And this is different from that kind of angry, pent-up demand that somebody do something because you feel like you've been taken for granted, or that you're owed something because you've worked so hard and you kind of blow up. Actually, you can kind of get that energy out each day by simply practicing asking for what you need, and it can be simple. And this will help the two in your life be less resentful. Others will appreciate your directness rather than having to guess why they're angry or irritated. So I would say those are the top 5 practices for twos. Feel free to add your own. Thanks.